Hello everybody and welcome into my new program that calls Make for Makers. And with this video, I call it this Day 0 or intro video. I'm going to explain a bit what we are going to do during the program, what is Make in general, and general understanding of what is automation. So this is the purpose of our today's day and this video. So let's start with the Make, which is definitely general purpose of this program because it calls Make for Makers, but it's not only the purpose of the program, so you to understand. So definitely the main purpose of this program is to make a maker from you, as we may call it. So you may call it the Make professional or something similar, or makers. It's just up to you. They definitely will be related to Make as a main tool that we're going to use for our processes, business automations, and automations in general. So let's start with our educational path, and that's how I imagine it, and what you basically should achieve after this program is ability to build a relatively complex scenario and professional scenarios. Definitely, it might take you some time to practice your knowledge, and that's like you have to understand that this process is kind of constant. So you improve your knowledge constantly, and more you practice, more interesting cases you have, faster you learn. And this is the this is the life. My purpose here definitely is to make this process way faster for you, and way more effective by showing you tips, tricks, and how exactly to learn. This is very important to understand that you not only need to remember some patterns or tips and tricks and some tweaks, but you need to learn how to learn exactly. And this is also one of the purposes of this program and my goal here. So that's why I decided to create this program, as several of recent my programs, such as the custom app challenge that showed really good results, where we went through the process step by step. So instead of just going and through each feature, each button, each everything, without it's kind of relatively senseless, right? If I would just start you to explain, okay, click, let's say this is a scenario, this is a function, this function, this switcher, this trigger, this toggler, this, and this is webhook, and this has this one by one. It's just senseless. So that's why I decided to make this path. It's as we did in the custom challenge. It is one of the as I think most professional programs I created, and that program will be also built in this way. So we're going to go through the process of creating scenarios from the simplest to more and more complex. And by doing this, we going to learn and implement more and more advanced features and practices and data patterns and so on. Okay, this is something that I wanted to say about our educational path. So with this one, we need to determine what is automation and what exactly we're going to do. And if you not absolutely new to automation itself, but to maybe make, right? So we need to a little bit speak about what exactly Make, and what they make for, and how it literally works. So Make, it's rebranded and updated the platform that was previously called Integromat, and this is why I will reference a lot during the program to all interface of Integromat in some Integromat scenarios, because some of features at that particular moment is relatively similar to what we had in Integromat, but definitely we have way better platform, and the platform is improved, and we're going to talk about this also. So what features are improved, and because this process is constant, I plan to update the program with additional small features that will be added during the first 6 months at least. Okay, so with this one, let's start with the process automation itself. So Make it's a platform that helps you to automate the business process, and this is why you need to understand a bit what is the business process and what is about, right? So the business process, it's literally we may set like a set or a list of steps that performed to achieve some business goal, right? Some business task. And currently, nowadays, most of the businesses use online services. It's just kind of impossible to avoid the online services nowadays. Even though if you use just only the Google Sheet, for example, right? So sooner or later, you will need to even automate the Google Sheet, because it becomes many tasks becomes routine, and you just need to make them faster and easier. And definitely this again, as I mentioned, is probably the only few businesses nowadays use just the one online tool. Most of them, and more more corporate we go, more probably tools we have, and definitely a lot of IT businesses that work only with like online tools and just do not have physical things at all besides the kind of tables and laptops and PCs on it. Okay, so with this one, I want to start with some categorization, as we may say, of these services, right, that we're going to work with. So what you need to understand, that we going to work with a lot of services, and what you need to do in this case, you need to understand that you will never learn each function of each service. It's just impossible, just because we have hundreds of popular and thousands of them in general, and probably soon it will be probably tens of thousands of these possible services. So you will never be able to learn all features, let's say even the same Slack, or even the same whatever Google Calendar, or whatever. You may definitely become the professional in one thing, or even in several, but you will never be a professional in tens and hundreds of them. So that's why you need to learn and understand some basic patterns and basic principles, basic ideas for and common things for all these services. And that's why we are going probably to start today with some categorization of these services, and then the Make did this job for you basically already. And what you see here on the Make page with the apps and services, it's basically really great categorization of online tools that you potentially will use, right, in your automation process. So what we again, just to recap and to recap what we did, what I just said, is that automation is literally a process of transformation of data between the services. In other words, right? So we said we have a list or set of some business tasks that we performed using online services. So the goal of the business automator, or the maker, right, that we will call it, is a literally ability to automate these tasks and use for it Make and other tools, but we definitely will focus mostly on Make. And yeah, so you have a set of tools and you have a Make, that a central brain as a backbone of your system that automates all these processes. So when we go a little bit deeper, and then we kind of going deep inside of each of these services. So what you need to understand, that each of these services has some entities and data. And we will talk about this, but let's just start over basically general things that we going to see, and general capabilities of Make. So speaking about the automations, right? So we may start with something super simple, right? So it might be, for example, this scenario, as we call it, right? So kind of that automation or flow in Make it called scenario. And this simplest one of the simplest. So literally what it does, it just, as you see by module name here, and the service definitely that, define this module. It's a Dropbox. We're searching for files in the folders. We're creating a sharing link for it, and we just post them in a Google Sheet. So purpose of this one is literally create a direct link for your file. So for many tasks online, or especially for e-commerce, for example, you need to have direct link to a file, not just the file that can be downloaded from your cloud, from the Dropbox, where you need to be authorized to be able to download it, but you need to have a direct link to this file, right? So you can just copy paste this link into your website or so, and it will be able to populate the image from it, right? Or anyone will be able to download this file. So this is exactly what this automation does. So as you see here, how it built, relatively easy, right? Again, this intro. This is intro, so we just do a brief overview on what possible and what we're going to learn during the program. So just do not be super precise, not try to see and repeat it. It's definitely up to you. You may try to do it if you want, and it's for this is relatively easy to replicate it. So as you see, we're searching for this extension for the file inside this folder, right? That returns us the files, right? So this I tested, so I'm going just to remove it. And then we using this another module to create a shared link, okay? And then we use the Google Sheet module just to add these like rows, right? In our table. So table will have the name of the image and the file, the link to this file. So as you see, I do some modification of the URL because Dropbox, the general format of the file URL that we share has, it leads you to a Dropbox to download. But we using some functions here, we do a transformation of this URL dynamically, right? So each of these URLs will be converted into special format that will allow us to download the files. So I won't stop too precise on each of these scenarios. I will just go over them because the purpose of this short overview is show you the abilities and the variety of options that you may use Make for. So this one looks relatively simple, just 2 modules, right? And again, nothing complex in here. That one a little bit complex, and it was created at a time when the Stripe, as you may know, it's like a paid gateway, has not have the option to create the direct links for the product cards. So as you see, 2 modules only. That code you technically can obtain from a Stripe, and here we hard-coded the plan ID and the quantity of the product. So what this small thing does, it literally creates for you online shop, right? So just assume you don't have whatever ton of products, you just do some service, right? And you just need some, link, go and pay. Like you say to this user, okay, this link, just go pay for it, and I do whatever thing for you, right? So whatever it might be, a service for, I don't know, like window installation or the moving or whatever it might be, physical, not physical, but you do the online payment. And for this, you don't even need to have anything beside the Stripe account, which connected to your bank account definitely and allows you to get the money from the user. That's it. So that's how it easily works, right? So you just have the URL and we run this scenario. So anytime when your user open this URL, and you can definitely use the bit.ly or whatever, the proxy that will beautify this URL, make it shorter and nicer. Anyways, it opens that short, let's say, bit.ly URL or any other shortener you use, that then it be proxied and forwarded to webhook, and the webhook will do this simple transformation, and that simply leads you to a Stripe checkout. This is a real Stripe page, has a product, has a description for it, and just disregard the test mode because this was created from a test mode product, but in general will work absolutely well for you to sell the product. So you see, you enter the email, card, name on the card, and that's it. That's it. So you just and you can even use it for, you see, the subscriptional product. So that not just a simple purchase, they start a trial and you will be charged within the 14 days. So just I did this, I believe, for some it was a soccer school, right? So you see, like, you start the trial and in 14 days you will be charged for like $50 per month. Super easy. No need any super duper online store, just one click. And this again will cost you just to operation kind of nothing because the you make allows you to have 1,000 even on a free plan. So it's like 500 charges per month for $50. So you understand that you will make a lot of more money. So again, this is an example of how simple might be the automation and how powerful it can be at the same time. So let's move further to that's maybe a little bit more complex. I have several of them for you here. Yeah, let's start with this one. So let's just close these guys, and we go into more complex things. So that one literally helps us to create an XML feed for it's a kind of marketplace, and so you see that can be used to get the information from the Google Sheet. This is super old automation. It's actually one of the first I created probably 4 years ago or so. The connection expired, but if we will refresh it, it should work really well. So let me see if I have the active one. Probably can do it, but anyways, the idea of it is get a file, the data. So you see like a ton of variables comes here, and we creating a huge XML with a it's not that huge. It was kind of a couple of thousands of products, but still it's relatively big, right? So, and we create an XML with a relatively complex structure, as you can see here, many variables, and that will be just added to our Google Drive to then feed it into Marketplace. So that's also how powerful it might be. So you see we spent definitely some operations to generate this feed, but with this one it creates for us relatively complex thing, and that can save you a ton of time because you may just change a pricing for, let's say, 2,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 of products, right, in a Google Sheet. And then just with the one scenario run, you will be able to regenerate the whole feed for your marketplace and submit it to marketplace and update the products at once. So this is also one of the examples for it. This one is relatively complex and at the same time relatively simple scenario that helps process invoices. So just assume you are the vendor, and here we go in like kind of more enterprise space that we also going to touch in our lesson. So what does this thing? It parses incoming email. So just assume you are the enterprise and you're getting like tens and hundreds and sometimes thousands of invoices from the same vendor, and you need to just parse it, use some tools, or definitely still common practice to do it manually, right? So put it in some in this case it's SAP, so in some ERP system or accounting with a new inventory. And so what does this scenario? It literally does next thing. So it takes the new email, right? So it checks for new incoming email. Then it lists attachments and download each of them. Means each PDF will be downloaded. It first of all will be stored in our OneDrive. So we're going to search if the folder for this vendor exists. We're going to upload the file. If it does not exist, we're going to create a new folder and upload this invoice. Each of the invoices that we have here, right? So we have a filter that filters our like you see the attachment exists, and then if the subject, let's say, contains the invoice, so that tool called PDF.co helps us to parse the attachments based on a like a keywords in it. So in my case here, I did like you see, I have the expression that determines what exactly templates will be used. So if the subject contains, let's say, Apple, we will use this type of ID. So this will be that template, because this PDF.co, it's an OCR tool that parses, that literally reads PDF and converts it to a text. So it returns as a JSON, and then we use it to get a ton of variables from it and put in our Google Sheet, or in this case, it's Excel file. So, and as you see, we getting the type of vendor or contractor, whatever, and then based on it we use particular ID of a template, because for the OCR you have to have a structure and determine where exactly we have variables, quantities, prices, and so on. And then we do the things, right? So we're adding the row for the like new invoice, right? And then we creating the invoice header, this for SAP, and then we are going to add the rows, and again these rows depending on the type of the vendor. So and each time we're creating the invoice line in here, and and we simply add the data into columns of our Excel. In this case, I'm not sure if it's loading, if I have the connection active here, should be the one. Yeah, so and as you see, we're adding the item name, quantity, and price. So that builds for us perfect list of items that added. Same thing we use for ERP or any accounting system. So that currently using the SAP for this purpose here. So I'm going to close these guys, and this is another example of the scenario that I built. Again, the make is cool because you may play and do whatever kind of logical flows, diagrams, or even kind of shapes or images from it. So what does this thing? It's relatively complex again. So we work in tool that called SalesForce, It's one of the most popular CRMs in corporate space. So we literally with this one, we getting the information about the companies that passes some special stage, and we use it to add the data to. So we do some kind of data transformation and aggregation. This we also going to learn how to do it, right? So you see I aggregating and counting some things and stuff. So like a new logos or existing one, and so on, how many employees they have, and so that's automation created to create a list of companies and get the data for these companies. I have my secret module here that I use to get information about companies. So again, this scenario works kind of in pair with another one. Let me just quickly find it here. I lost it. And if yes, let me see if I can get it. So another scenario that works in pair with the current one, that is the one, and it works in this way. So to not distract you, I will just leave the active part of it. So these guys work in pair, as I mentioned, and what they do, we literally send the request in this module to another scenario that goes and finds the information about the company, parses it using some complex expressions, not always complex, but sometimes we have some regex expression that parses a text that we got in here, and we return it into our scenario to populate in our Airtable. So in this case, we getting information about companies such as description, logo, and everything to add in Airtable and have a nice report about the companies that passed some special stages with the calculation of these companies, employees in it, and so on. So that's example of relatively complex scenario for analytics. We won't stop too much on this one. Just we'll tell you that this is the Binance Features Bot. So what it does, literally, by this, when the signal received, it goes and buys literally the special futures such as Bitcoin future or Ethereum or whatever we will program here, right? And just works based on the signals that comes from whatever source. It will be either a trading view or anything else. So again, this is how complex you may go with your things. So that's how it looks like. So you see, we buy this by market and so on. So that's trading bot. Another system I have here, it's relatively simple. It's just illustrates this test one. So it's kind of I did for some presentation, and this one works not for real purpose, just illustrates how you may get the Telegram message, voice message literally that recorded in Telegram. So then we use the Google Cloud Speech to find that this particular phrase exists in this speech. We filter it here, and if the particular word show exists, so like if you record the voice message and this message says like a show presentation or so, it performs a special call that triggers another scenario. So this voice recognition bot is like a voice bot that you can use for some purposes. So also interesting idea. That one I want to show you a little bit different. This is also interesting, but let's go to lead updates. No, not this one. We need a stage. Probably this one. Yep. Relatively complex to create it, test it, but it works just fine. And that one is works with several systems such as Pipedrive and ClickUp. So based on a Pipedrive, which is CRM, so stages in CRM changes. So we go and create the invoices, and we add the invoice. We create invoice in the FreshBooks. This is another accounting system. We also add products to this invoice, because Pipedrive has option for products, but we set these products in Airtable because it's more convenient for us to create a bundles. So it's like a really complex thing. And we created this invoice. Then we create a shortened link for this invoice to nice and gently put it in our description for our deal. So this is real one, works with the business. And then we create based on some stage that customer passes. Literally that stage is approval. So we send the proposal. As soon as proposal approved, we creating a project inside a ClickUp. So work with the customer. So you see with Parser, address and so on, the phone number, and we create a task in a ClickUp, and that starts another stage of a product. So we can go even that complex. And this again, more or less it that I wanted to show you as an overview of what we can achieve, what we can do with this one, and just provide you some ideas maybe. So this is literally a simple synchronization, relatively simple one, but it works pretty powerful. So this synchronization of Zendesk and Telegram bot. So it's literally integration between the Zendesk and the Telegram. So each time when the Zendesk ticket is updated, it contains two scenarios. Basically works this way, right? And each time when the customer sends the request, so you see in new Telegram a message. Based on the logic, we determine if the customer already has open ticket in a Zendesk. If not, we create a new ticket, reply the customer, the new ticket created, such as this: thank you for the inquiry, contact you shortly, and so. And then this is opposite, so it's a two-way synchronization. And each time when the customer replies, based either we have open ticket or not, we reply the customer in conversation in Telegram. So this literally works in both ways for our customer. So it's a two-way synchronization between the Zendesk and Telegram, as an example. Okay, so with this one, I want to quickly stop on the things that we might have simple. So just you to understand, I want to go back to our list of tools that you can find here, right? So, and categories of the services. So one of the purposes of this today's intro videos, a video was also to try to explain you, if you're not super deep in it, and if you haven't find similarities between the SaaSes with the same type that you used before. I'll explain you in a second what I mean. So literally, we speak about the, let's say, CRMs, right? So that's why this category is important. So we have, let's say, CRMs and sales. And this why is important to understand that same category of tools can have similar features, right? And automating them you will find a lot of similarities, right? So means if you will be advanced, and you will be able and you will know how to work with the CRMs, for example, such as HubSpot or SalesForce or Pipedrive, another CRM will be very easy for you to work it with. Definitely, each of them have some specific features and specificities, but most of them will work in a similar way, right? And that's what I wanted to illustrate you. In this case, it's a several CRMs, right? So let's run this one, just you to see. I want to show you the entities right in here. Even though these guys I pull here will be a little bit different types. So here in a Salesforce, I pull a lead, right? What you should understand that the structures in different CRMs will be relatively similar, and you may find the similarity. So each lead, for example, in here, right, in our Salesforce, or it will be Amazon CRM, will be Pipedrive or HubSpot, each lead probably will have the contact related to it. That contact will have like email and name and so on, maybe phone number and so on. So it might be called a little bit different, like a deal or lead, but it will be have similar features, including the custom fields that might have this record or entity. So we call it entity, right? Then let's say we work with a customer, which will be it calls person in a Pipedrive. It calls, let's say, a contact in Amazon CRM. It calls a contact also in a HubSpot. But the idea is the same, right? It's the same contact. It will have the email. It will have a phone number. It will have another thing here for like might have some custom fields, right? It might have some, I don't know, like notes or pictures, and relatively the same thing we will have in all of the CRMs. So we have a contact. It will have the first name and last name and email, right? And a phone number probably. So that's why I'm saying they are relatively similar, right? So we have a customer that has some name, phone number, and that's, again, you have to use and understand the categories of the tools that you work with. That will give you superpower, right? To work with the similar tools, and that's how you multiply and skyrocket your abilities, because you will never learn. So for example, a May currently in CRM section has how many? Like 69. You will never learn how to work with this all 69 CRMs. Means you will never learn how each of these CRM have whatever button features, toggler, and so. But what you will learn, as I mistakenly said, you will never learn how to work with it. You will learn how to work with it, but you will never learn each of these CRMs in detail, in perfect detail. But what you need to learn is some general patterns, right? How you work with the CRM data, how you work with the leads, contact, and so on. And then whatever CRM calls Zoho CRM, right? Or it calls whatever we have here, the same Salesforce, or it will be I don't know, Daspo CRM or Copper, right? Or vTiger. They all have relatively same structure. They will have contacts, they will have deals, they will have, the contacts definitely will have name, email, custom fields, and so on. So, that's why you need to determine the main categories for the services and start. If you haven't started yet, if you don't have too much experience with automation, I would strongly recommend you to get even free accounts. That is doable. and possible. Let me just find the tab I had for you. Yeah, it was here. Just to illustrate how it works. So we have, let's say, e-commerce, right? Let me just bring my list of tools that I had. So, for example, I may give you like several categories that important to learn, at least to start, right? So it will be databases. So more or less, all of you know how to work with it. But if you don't, just start to explore them a little bit better. So what are examples of databases we may have? It will be like definitely Google Sheet and everything. So it might be called a little bit differently here, but I would call them databases. Might be an Office or something. Let's see how they grouped. App and services, categories, productivity, spreadsheets. Okay, so spreadsheets. Yeah, so I would also call them databases because they are literally databases. A little bit simple, but still, right? So Google Sheet, Airtable, Smartsheet, and so on, right? Same Excel, definitely. I would add here and also NAC, maybe, and maybe some like MySQL. So this still kind of databases, simplified, but there are databases. Then I would go with something like CRMs again, as we spoken. Then we might have like email or marketing tools, such as what we have here for this category. I would say like MailChimp or ActiveCampaign as an example. What we have categorized here. But it's actually not all of them in this category. I would call them marketing. I would call them marketing and maybe the email marketing. Yeah. So maybe it's just not in search. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's you see you have to put it in exact way as it is. Yeah. So it's case sensitive. So ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, MailerLite, Klaviyo, and so on. SendGrid, definitely. So these guys, I would learn. Again, the basics at least. If you haven't yet, just go and use these perfect examples such as ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, maybe Mailgun, MailerLite, ClickSend. So all of them work relatively similar way. Yep. So then we have the e-commerces. Definitely two examples will be the Shopify. Calls commerce here, e-commerce. Two most popular will be these two guys, Shopify and WooCommerce. So you need to understand what is order, what is line items, the products in it, and so. And then each of them will work relatively same. So if you will take the magenta will also have the orders. Orders will also have the products in it, will be probably called like line items or so. It might be the Zoho, it might be the PrestaShop, and so on. So CMSs, by CMS here I mean something like a WordPress, or currently popular will be the doesn't come up, so it will be the Webflow. Yeah, so things like a WordPress and a Webflow, I would learn at least how to use. Oh yeah, it takes some time to populate. So website building. category should give you these guys. So website building and CMS. So CMS it's a WordPress, definitely. I don't know why they do not include the. I would also call this landing pages, website pop-up. It's website development. They added it in here because it's like more advanced. Yeah, agree. But again, I would just learn these type of things because they are quite popular. Project management tools, a ton of them, but most popular will be currently probably same ClickUp, Monday, Jira, definitely, Asana. So project management tools, you can find them here. Yeah, and again, you may start with the same Trello and so on. So all of them work relatively similar. They have projects, they have tasks, and so tasks have custom fields. They have relations, due dates, and so you may start with each of them. ClickUp is good example. It's free, so no problem. We will talk about accounts also right now. Yeah, and probably like this kind of will be optional, more or less. You know how to work with the office tools such as Google Sheet or Gmail, and so same for the Microsoft one. Telephony, maybe again just up to you if you'd like to get the telephony stuff, such as Ring Central, and so it's not that popular. That will be more than enough for a start. And speaking about the accounts, so I just pull it up, couple of examples of the things we have here, right? So same CRMs, right? The Pipedrive, good example. The HubSpot, also good. So the HubSpot definitely have the it had at least a free plan. Start to get a free, get a demo. I believe you will still have a free account. Get free CRM here. So you see it's free up to some limits, and you definitely can start to explore it and work with it. We have the Pipedrive, definitely. You see full access, no card required, used for over blah blah blah. So at least you will get a couple of weeks to learn it. Shopify and similar stuff like this. So again, try Shopify, blah blah blah, 14 days, go ahead and do it. Things like WordPress, I'll give you a trick. Cognito Forms, if I'm not mistaken, and I hope they still have it. So one of the plugins for the Cognito, they at least probably not Cognito, Gravity Forms. They had a really cool thing that I used to use. If it's still active, let's see. Yeah, this one. No, not this one. Sign up for free. Yeah, this I believe should be it. So sign up for free Gravity demo today. You just fill whatever you like. Another tip will be use definitely temp mail to generate disposal email for your stuff. Okay, and we have this, our CAPTCHA cars. So are we good? And let's build some forms. So that should give us really interesting things. So what they do, if they still work, I really hope they they still do it. Yeah, I think so. That's what they give to you. It will be the WordPress. Clean, nice and shiny WordPress that works for several days. So they literally generate for you the instance of a WordPress with everything. So it's your server. You can go and install the plugins, do whatever you like. You have the login for it, username and password. You're an admin. So that's your free to use WordPress. Super easy to get it. Play with their forms, play with the other tools that you want to install. I use it a lot for tests purposes as a fresh WordPress, even though I don't like the WordPress at all. Sometimes you need to work with it. This is again just an example of how to get a free account. So just use Gravity for trial. So that's almost it for today, guys. Yeah, so we kind of spoken about the different things, including the use cases and the similarity of different services. So what I encourage you to do, and it's not even related to particular make program, it's just for your own, because again, as I said, my goal for this program is learn you to learn. And that will be a really, really good if you will go and become at least acquainted with each type of these most common systems, right? So these most common categories that we discussed, which is databases, CRMs, email and marketing tools, e-commerce, CMS, project management. That should be way more than enough for you to start to build professional things. There are a ton of additional services, definitely, but these 6, I believe, most common, most used, and you have to know them. You have to know how to work with them to be a maker, to be successful in business automation, in the process of business automations. So, because these categories used by most of the companies, right? So that's it for today, guys. So hope this was a great intro, and see you tomorrow, where we will start to learn Make in our Make for Makers program.